All right, here we are. Brand new.
Another episode.
Another episode. Where are we? What'd you call it?
This is the Lakeside Podcast Studio.
Lakeside Podcast Studio here on beautiful Smith Lake. There may be a little echo in here, and I apologize for it. The building, we just got moved in, kind of. We're 99% done. Got a little bit of decorating to do and little odds and ends, but if you do hear a little echoish sound, it's because it's just me and him and a couple of chairs and tables in here. But the studio inside is complete, other than just hanging up some stuff. I could see a turkey shadow box over there in that corner, right in there, made out of.
I may know a guy.
I heard somebody say they was gonna make me one, but I never saw it.
Well, there's some stuff in the works on that. Me and Laura actually talked about that leaving here the other day because I've got quite a bit of that mossy oak material I ordered.
Yeah.
So I believe I can.
Okay.
Do it right. Mm-hmm. So, but I'm just glad to be in here, man. We've worked a lot of hours.
Let me tell you who's the happiest.
Your wife.
My wife. She's off down there somewhere right now, probably running around.
They probably got the Keurig going in there.
Oh, my God.
Because we lock them in the basement and they have no access to the Keurig.
All I hear is, you didn't let us know when you were finished. I know. We're enjoying the peace and quiet up here. Yeah. So we got the studio. It was once a shed that is no longer don't even favor what it started out as. And we'll get more pictures put up as we get things hung on the walls, and
and a thing talking about that, we'll also be the little contest thing we've done. We've got to get back to that and get a winner.
I checked on it and nobody really put anything else on there. I did look. Yeah. I don't know if you've looked or not.
I did.
I checked a couple places and. So we'll push that again real hard now that we're getting closer and closer to bow season, and maybe that'll fire a few people up.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was some pretty cool names brought up.
Yeah, there was.
And somebody had Buck Naked,
I
think, hunting club. Yeah. The hunting club across the big creek from our place was called Miss 'em. Miss 'em Hunting Club. I thought, you didn't miss too many. You hit them, they just come across the creek and died over there on our side.
Yeah.
So I found lots of skulls and bones over there. So I know that's what was happening.
I think I went to a dog hunting club one time that was called Cut 'em in Two.
Cut 'em in two.
Yeah. I think you bringing up names like that. I think that's Cut 'em in Two.
I belonged to one called Nectar, the little town of Nectar. Everybody would go, Nectar, why would you call something, sweet? And I said, no, it's after the town that the president's from. It was Nectar Hunting Club. We was down there, old Lock 17, Tuscaloosa. Actually, first hunting club I ever belonged to.
That dog hunting club in Barry that I was in, I don't know if you went down there with me or not. I think we were going to, and something may have come up, but
I don't think I went.
It was called Redbud.
Yeah, no, I didn't go there.
There was redbud trees everywhere there, and the name held up.
I like the redbuds.
Yeah.
Tom Kelly always said when you see the redbuds budding, now it's most all the trees in the spring kind of look red. He said, turkey season's close.
Yeah.
And I know it ain't turkey season, but I don't care. I think about them every day.
It ain't long to kick off.
I mean, didn't you just show me a bunch of turkeys?
Yeah. We're starting to draw a few more down there on that little piece of property.
Hey, you might, if you only got one or two gobblers in there, you may give it a season or so or whatever. Then again, there's a lot of acreage off that property. That's what I think about on my little 40.
And we had a few jakes in there during the spring. So, I mean,
look, if y'all both could just take a bird or two, you'd be in good shape on that place.
I told Jamie when we can confirm that we got 6 gobblers on that property, he can take one and I'll take one the next year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to give him the best chance we can. And there was more turkey. All that was monster hardwoods. And then,
I know,
of course,
all
they got
about
cut.
that kind.
It oh too well. But we're really just now getting the timber
big enough so they can walk in
and roost and and do their thing.
See, we're a long ways from that down on our place. Yeah. Them trees aren't but 10 years old. Maybe not even 10 years. Nah, they cut it 2016. Them things ain't even 8 years old yet. So I've got a long. I may never see it.
And all this wet weather we've had this summer really helped the growth on it.
Oh my God, yes.
I mean,
The only good thing about that is my grass is brown.
hey, I didn't mow for 3 weeks, and we got that little rain, and I thought, well, it's going to pop up and go. So I get out there to mow, and I was just knocking the tops out of patches.
Well,
here and there.
I could jump, my yard here, I could do it with a weed eater anyway. So I could do what's out there, what little bit seeded out around the edges of the concrete. I could need to get up on that bank and just knock it down. That'd be for the end of the year up there.
Yeah. I can't decide if I want to do one more. I need to spray, but
You talking about around the house?
yeah, but I hate to do it this time of
Oh,
year.
that's weed eater in a bottle right there. I love
Well,
it.
it's just, I have in the past done it like close to, winter months or whatever, and stuff washes and stuff. So I can't decide if I just want to suck it up.
Well, it might be so dried out, not green right now. It might not even do no good.
Yeah, that's true.
If it's dormant, I mean, there ain't nothing growing. It went dormant on us.
Yeah.
So
And I may just make up, instead of making 25 gallon, I may just make my little pump backpack
that's
sprayer
all I
and
use
spot
around
spray,
here. Yeah. And I know, why aren't we talking about this kind of stuff? We got all kinds of good stuff to talk about.
Well, I mean,
We're not even tired tonight. I was told by a friend of ours in Georgia, don't even hit the record button when we've been tired and hot all day.
Well, I know because I about fell asleep 2 or 3 times on that
But
one. I was wore
you know
out.
what? I was looking at the analytics. A lot of people listen to that podcast.
Really?
Yeah. At least on Apple. I didn't go to anywhere else.
Maybe they thought that was a skit, a comedy skit. They don't know we were dragging.
But
We were dragging.
We'd been out here. We've
Yeah.
been, it was a long
I think
day.
I had started daylight that morning on some job, and so it was a long day. But those maybe those long
anyway,
days are behind us.
We are here. We're in the studio. This is where we're going to record from now on. I do want to have a little open house, I hope. Maybe
Yeah.
get the Georgia boys over. I mean, we can't put but 6-8 people in here. That'd be the most you could fit in it.
We'll pack her out.
Well, they can stand outside and wait. And next,
Take a number.
yeah, number 4, come on in. Sit down over there. So, I mean, I'm proud of it. It is almost exactly what I was envisioning. I mean, I could see it. I mean, you know how you see something? I mean, it's not what I was seeing, but I mean, it is, if that makes sense.
I think we've done a good job of breaking things up too. The
Oh,
way we've
yeah.
done it. So, and there's a little bit of everything. If you like rustic,
it's here.
we've got it. We broke this thing up, and Anthony will post some pictures tomorrow. And
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going to take a few pictures.
it's amazing from where it started. The before and after is
Well,
something
if
else.
anybody goes back and sees me standing out there with the wall tore out
Yeah.
of
Hanging
of
halfway off.
aluminum 10 by 12 shed, that's what it was. Like I said, it's not a shed now. But I don't. People that come in here that saw the old building won't even recognize this. Now I'm still going to have to beat the wife out. She was talking about, I could come up here and work.
You're just going to have to cut that router off in the morning.
Well, what we're going to do, we got to put our doorknob on, and we ain't giving her the code.
This is going to be some kind of hush code.
Yeah, it'll be. I thought about that anyway when I moved my stuff out here, but or our stuff out here. I thought, somebody, all they had to do is open the door, but hell, my truck's been unlocked. Oh, I got to get that spare key back from you too.
Yep.
Don't let me forget that. You can keep the
You
other
ain't getting
key.
the shop key.
You
I'm
can
gonna
have the
keep
shop
that.
key. Everybody on earth know, if they want in, my whole family has one of them keys. So
Well,
your family, so you might as well keep.
I need
one.
one. I'm going to have to come snag that planer or something.
That planer. I got a welder in there now. You might need to come up here.
Yeah. Yep.
It actually I've got a real welder at work. I'm gonna bring home. It's a real one.
I've got a MIG that I've lent out, and I don't even know where it's at. I've got to find it. I've got a nice little MIG somewhere. But, well, I want to hear about this trip to South Dakota. I mean, y'all stay gone pretty much a week.
Oh, my God.
She worked you to death out there.
Oh, listen, I walked as much there. I walked actually more there this time than I walked turkey hunting there when we went turkey hunting since I killed one.
Well, we know. I mean, it was 20-minute hunt.
It was 20 minutes.
I was wading through creeks and swimming ponds with the cow manure.
I was laid up on the couch drinking coffee.
Watching Golden Girls.
Watching the Golden Girls, looking out there at that rain and wind and going, boy, I'm glad I killed mine yesterday. But no, the flight out was really sweet. It was quick. I say quick. We was there in 4 hours, basically. We flew out of Huntsville.
A little quicker than driving.
Yes. And I'll tell you a little story about that as I get into it. But we got up there and we stayed right there at Rockerville Lodge and Cabins. Got to knowing the owners real well. Matter of fact, we're going to meet up down in Florida New Year's. We're going down to Cedar Key, and they're somewhere south of there. They go down. They were counting the days, 53 days when we left. That was when they shut her down for the season.
Right.
And but we got there, and it was, I don't know, by the time we got it unpacked, back to our room and all that, it was going on, I guess, 2:00. So I didn't want to really get started too much, but I told her, I said, why don't we just hit the Black Hill Forest and Custer State Park, do the wildlife loop. It's only a couple hours ride, what I thought. And it's a little over 25 miles around. And it goes through all kinds of different, you're a prairie, you're mountains. I saw so much stuff. We got to go back. But anyway, so we jumped in the vehicle, and I'd rented a little Dodge. I think it was a Durango. It had a Hemi in it. I think, whoa, it would go. I put 1,280 miles on it while I was there. That tells you how much driving we did. Most of it in the state park. But so we did the little loop. Didn't really see nothing. We started. I don't know. Did we go out there? Me and you? You know where the buffalo were in the prairie? Did he carry you back through there? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the way we went in, we kind of went, that was where we ended. We circled back around kind of through the mountainous area, and it circled all the way around. Beautiful lakes up in there. Just all kinds of scenery, but we didn't see nothing. I said, this is the wildlife loop, until we got back around and started coming into more prairie stuff. And then all of a sudden, antelope everywhere. Couldn't believe it. I was wanting to see elk is what I was wanting to see, be honest with you. I was looking for buffalo. She wanted to see the buffalo so bad. And we rolled up on they were donkeys, a pile of them out there. I thought they were wild, but no, they come up to you. I petted one through the window. People feed them carrots, and they had little ones, and they'd get out there and walk around. I ain't walking around no dang donkey. I know what'll happen. They kick you, bite you, do something. But anyway, she had a good time with that, and the prairie dogs. Oh my God. We sit and watch prairie dogs forever. And then as we're kind of going on out the loop, about where, not too far from where me and what was our guide's name? You remember? Anyway, he brought me in that way. There's a
Gary.
There's a little welcome center, not a welcome center, but I guess it is like a visitor center. It's not where you buy your ticket, which a value. 7 days, it's a $30 pass. You can go stay from till, I think, Custer State Park officially closed at 11 o'clock at night. So you can stay out there.
Is that a vehicle pass? Or
yeah,
is that,
vehicle.
Yeah.
So not per person, but so we stopped there, and for a second they had some restrooms, and I saw a sign that said Bison Research Facility. So heck, we turned left and went down that road, and sure enough, they had a bunch of corrals and stuff with, I guess, sick ones or injured ones, and they had a gift shop there and some bathrooms there. And we talked to a park ranger, and he said, yeah, we got a big buffalo roundup coming up the 27th and 28th. Y'all should come see it. It's something to see. So guess what? It's probably on our list to go back and see sometime. But anyway, he said, the buffalo are just kind of spread out right now. You'll just have to find them. And because I didn't see one now. When we were there back in that May was a year ago, there was hundreds. You couldn't drive down the road. I was wanting to hop out, maybe use the bathroom behind a tree, but you couldn't do it. Not when I was by myself out there. And of course, she was turkey hunting. So anyway, we went on back to the room, spent the night, and then we started, I kind of knew what we was going to do. You're going to do the touristy things. But it was so hot. It was in the 90s. The Sunday when we got there, Monday and Tuesday, it was in the mid-90s. It was hot. It was as hot as it was here. A little less humid, but it was still hot. So we went to a little town called Hill City, 8 miles down the road. And we got on a steam engine train, and we rode it. It was a couple of hours. We rode to another little town, was only another about 8 or 10 miles away, but this train was real slow. It went to a town called Keystone. These were like very mini Gatlinburgs. They had one little strip,
right?
A bunch of bars and that kind of thing. But anyway, on that trip, we saw some deer because it went through, and all of a sudden, my eyes lit up. I said, "Look, turkeys, right there in the side of a man's yard." I'm trying to get my phone out and get my Onyx turned on so I can get these birds marked. And his property backed right up to the Black Hills National Forest. So if we figure out a way to get behind there, we might have a shot. But we saw several turkeys on the railroad there. And it went down, and all they did was unhook the engine, give us a few minutes to look around, and they hooked up to the other end and went back the other way. It was the oldest operating railroad in South Dakota, and I don't know, it had been around since 1800s, and the only one that operated in the Black Hills. So we did that, and then of course the next couple of days we did Mount Rushmore. I'm trying to think how we did it. We may have went to Deadwood the next day. Deadwood to me, I'm sorry, it just don't impress me. It's casinos and bars, and they're all selling T-shirts and that kind of stuff. So we walked around and looked in it, but that was Tuesday after. Yeah, that was that Tuesday we went to Deadwood. Yeah, so Monday we did the train thing, and Tuesday went to Deadwood because a lot of things were closed because they were open through Labor Day, so they gave their employees the day off.
Oh, okay.
And then I want to say, was it that day? Yeah, we left Deadwood because it was kind of boring. We didn't stay there long. And we decided we'd go see the Devil's Tower. That's over in Wyoming. And from Deadwood, it was only a little over an hour. Because you spent an hour, it was an hour from a drive to there. So we took off to Devil's Tower, which is pretty cool. They had about a 2.5 mile hiking trail where you can hike all the way around it. It was a nice trail. It was paved. It wasn't not like we did out in the Badlands, but so we did that, and it was kind of getting late. We started back. This is what's funny. We started back, and I'm blowing. It's 80 mile an hour speed limit. So me and the Ohimi, we're smoking it down the road, and she's doing her checking Facebook and her junk. And I see this. I didn't even realize we were back in South Dakota. But I see this sign that says Center of the Nation, exit 10. It was on the exit sign. And in my mind, I'm thinking Indian Nation, because there's so many Indian, it's full of Indians, all kinds of different Indians.
All kind of residents.
And they don't call themselves Native Americans, they're Indians. Even the Indians call themselves Indians. So all you politically correct people out there, get over it. They're Indians. So she said, "What did that say?" I said, "It said Center of the Nation." "What is it?" I said, "I don't know. We're a quarter mile from passing it." So she was Googling, boy. She's a Google master. She said, "Get off the exit, get off the exit, get off the exit." I'm going, "Are we going to some reservation?" She said, "No, it's the Center of the Nation." She said, "It's actually the middle of the United States," which I didn't want to act like I thought that was pretty cool, but I thought it was pretty cool. But I was going, wait a minute, this don't feel right. We're not in the center of the United States. We're too far north. It seemed like to me and a little bit east, or it just felt that way to me. So we drive into that little town, and sure enough, they got a big park out there and all 50 states flags, and then a big center thing, and the USGS, they got I don't know if I showed you the picture. I'll show you the picture. I'll even post it for everybody, but it's a big USGS plaque, north, south, east, and
Yeah,
west.
you sent me that picture.
It's the geographic center of all 50 states. So Hawaii and Alaska, they take all that landmass together, and that's how they come up with the center.
Okay.
So it wasn't actually the center of the 48 states. It's the center of all 50 states. But it's still pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then I was told we got to go to Kansas now, or wherever. She found the actual center of the 48 states. So now that's kind of on the list, I
Well,
guess.
she may have to go with us so we can go back to Turkey Hunt.
Yeah, exactly.
Her and Laura can go look for
They
the
can
center
find a center while we're hunting.
while we're trying to find center mass on a head somewhere.
But we did that, and then we rode a place it's in Custer State Park called Needles Highway. You go up through the mountains, and all of that, it's just giant columns of rock. You probably saw some of the pictures. I'll put pictures of that up too. I didn't take a lot of pictures. She's like a don't take this wrong, Japanese. She's like a Japanese tourist with a camera. I mean, she was, well, if you saw her post, anybody wants to see the post, just look up Rebecca Crow on Facebook. You can go look up she made a daily post, and she did real well. All I did was like it. I didn't have to do no posting of anything.
And you got tagged in it.
Yeah, I got tagged, so all my friends got to see it. I guess you could go to my page. I mean, somehow you get to it, but we went there, and it was absolutely beautiful. And then that brought us back around the wildlife loop. And that day, I saw a bunch of turkeys in Custer State Park. Of course, I put pins on them, because you never know how that may lay. You know, when the Black Hills all border that.
Yeah.
So I pinned it all, but on our way out, you go out of the park, you hang a right on like a Highway 36 that carries you back to Highway 79, which carries you back toward Rapid City and all that. But that road, oh my God. That first evening after dark, it was trying to cool off on a Wednesday. I think it was on a Wednesday that we did the Needles. So many deer, but we found the buffalo. You could see them off in the distance. So, yeah. Maybe we may have found some that day, but anyway, don't worry about the buffalo, Anthony. Let's get on to what's important. We saw literally hundreds of white-tailed deer. Hundreds. I stopped on the road and let 75 cross a barbed wire fence through the road and over another barbed wire fence. There was an alfalfa field just before it that had probably at least 150 deer out there. We slowed down. I couldn't actually just stop. They had deer. It was just coated in deer and a big giant flock of turkeys out there with them. And then we stopped and let all those deer cross the road. Then on down the road, there was a couple more turkeys fixing to fly up in a tree out there. Boy, I put the pins to them. I got the pins on all of them. I got some doors we can knock on. You know, if them other boys ain't got them all locked up.
Yeah.
So it was that was exciting. Then we went to the Badlands. She hiked my ass off out there. We did about a 5.5 mile hike, and but it was the weather. It had cooled off, so it was wasn't too bad. One trail was really nice. You got to go out through all basically the Badlands, and then we hit another trail that brought us back to where we parked, and it was pretty boring. It was nothing but prairie. So, but I did see a sign there, a lot of prairie dogs, but they said, basically don't mess with the prairie dogs. And then they said, if you get bit by an insect, this was on the sign. And it, how do they put it? Swells up, does something. Immediately go to the hospital and let them know where you've been, because you might have the plague.
Really?
So apparently the fleas off the prairie dogs can give you the plague. That's the only thing I could figure. The plague of all, and of course, we're in the Badlands.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was actually very beautiful. You know, you saw it from the highway. We got in it, and then we were actually doing a loop, but somehow we got off the loop, and we ended up. I saw a sign that said Interstate 90, and I said, "We done with the Badlands. We headed back." But we stopped in a little town called Wall and had dinner, and I don't know. You'd have to see Wall Drugs. It's like a mini mall, but we didn't eat there. We ate at another little spot there. And then, what else did we do? Oh man,
We went to Crazy Horse.
oh yeah, I forgot about we did Rushmore and Crazy Horse. We didn't do it like we did, but because we left, was it Crazy Horse? No. Well, anyway, when we did Rushmore, I had found out, I didn't know they did this. They do a night lighting of the mountain. So I told her, I said, I don't want to go there early. I said, let's do it late in the evening. And they did. They put on an excellent, real patriotic program. Watch a movie. There's got an amphitheater in there. I didn't even know about the amphitheater. I don't think me and you walked up close enough. Me and her we did the loop. You wouldn't walk.
Mm-hmm.
Be glad you did. They have some hills. I mean, it was paved, but God, thought we never would get around that thing. And you could look up and see the nose hair in them. I mean, you was right under them. But swiped me a rock from there. Now, at Crazy Horse, they had a bucket of rocks. And they wanted you to take one.
Actually, rocks
Where they blasted
chipping.
off of them, yeah. And we
Could you
took a
tell they
bus.
made any progress since last time we
Yeah,
were there?
his finger was complete.
Okay.
They actually did an unveiling of his finger. I mean, the nail, and you could see his knuckle and all that kind of stuff. And if we'd have done it in the afternoon at 4:00, I thought we were going out. You know, the one we didn't do, they took a van
Bus
up there to it. Well, they do that on weekdays after 4:30 when the workday's over. And we didn't. What in the world is that? Is that a boat? We got all kinds of new sounds.
Yeah.
So if y'all hear things, we thought it was pretty soundproof in here, but so we got all kinds of new sounds. But anyway, at 4:30, you can pay $125 and you can actually drive up and be up on top with it. And we were going to do it, but it was rainy that day. That was a rain day. And we hung around and saw an Indian dance and that kind of thing and piddled. We did that, and I'll just skip over and get to what I thought was most important. The very last day, what did we do? We did something. I don't know. You'll have to go check. I'm sorry. I got to scratch my ear. My ear was itching. So if y'all heard that, that's what that was, my ear itching. We spent the last day, we went to Spearfish and hiked a couple of waterfalls, and we was going to head back. We really just ate. We'd eat a little continental breakfast they had, and then we'd eat a good meal during the day. But that day we didn't. We just got some onion rings and some cheese curds at this restaurant because you had to eat there or they'd tow your car away if you parked. So anyway, when we got done, we was going to go back to the room because we'd bought a 12-pack of beer first day we got there, and they didn't even open a bottle of it. I said, we just can go home and, we didn't even drink none of that because we'd get back so late, we'd just take a shower and go to bed. And so we got back to the room, and she said, I want to go back to the wildlife park. I want to go see those buffalo again because we'd found them. And I said, well, they may not be where they were. And she said, well, I want to see a sunset, and I want to see those buffalo. And because I was going to give up on the elk. I'd looked and not found nothing. So we found us a spot where we was going to go watch the sunset, but we drove on around. We hit this dirt road that turns off, real nice dirt road that turns off the wildlife loop. And I said, man, the buffalo are all in the road right here. And there was cars everywhere. The buffalo were just like it was. I mean, there's probably a couple of hundred of them. And she was taking pictures, and she was just, I'm mesmerized by them. And I told her, I said, well, let's ease on the round to where we saw, maybe there's some more up down there, but we had to go up and around a hill. And as we come up on the hill, I looked to my right, covered up in elk. I mean, elk everywhere. There's probably 400 yards away, maybe a little further, all on top of the hill, but they were funneling down, kind of coming towards us. And we sat there, and there was a Karen there. I didn't turn my vehicle off because I was running the air conditioning, and she was turning around, making faces. And then when I turned it off, I found out why, because, I'm deaf, but you could hear the cows calling and the elk bugling. And I knew what time. I was about 30 minutes from where our sunset spot was. So I told her, I said, we're going to have to go here in a little bit. We stayed over there about an hour. I said, we're going to go if you want to go see the sunset. So we eased around and we left, and we went and sat out in the middle of the prairie on a big old rock we found and watched the sun go down. And of course, we got an hour and a half before it gets real dark. I told her, I said, you want to go back to the buffalo, see where they're at, or the elk? She said, oh, yeah. So we drove back over there, and this time we went a little further off down the hill. Nobody was out there but us this time, except the Karen showed back up. And they stayed away from us because they probably knew I wasn't very happy with them the other time, because I would have gave them the finger, but that was a big old boy she was with. So, I just turned the truck off.
You was trying to save him.
But where we were, and if y'all go to TikTok, and I think even on our Facebook page, I put a little TikTok video I made of her picture she took. My camera wouldn't take that far pictures, and they are pretty ratty. Look, I was told we're going to have a much better camera when we go on these trips from now on. So anyway, but you could hear them, the cows calling, the bulls bugling, watch them chase them across top of the hill. We stayed until it was pitch black dark. That was our last evening there. I mean, I might have texted you. I could die. I mean, I said, I could die a happy man now. I've seen elk. You can see them, in Tennessee. I've seen them live before, but I'd never heard one bugling or heard the cows calling. And man, it was just, the cows never shut up. It was just like a lot of women. They just talk. And then you'd see a big nice 6x6 or something. I could see him, but I had the binoculars. My camera wouldn't zoom it, but binoculars would. And you could see him call, and and then that old head go down just like a buck chasing a doe or whatever, a deer, and they'd run them around. And as they kept funneling down the hill, if we'd had another hour, we could have sit there, but we'd been in the dark. But we decided we'd head on back because we had to start getting packed. And we got up the next morning, had about a half day. We didn't fly out till 1, so we run back, picked up a couple little knickknacks for her kids, and my old man turned 82 while I was gone, so we got him a coffee cup and that kind of junk. And we hopped on a plane, and everything was good till we got to Chicago. And then our flight got, in all practical purposes, canceled, but delayed from, the first plane broke down, so they moved us to another plane. And that plane was late coming in, and when it got there, they said it broke down, which I really wouldn't want to fly none of them after you said you got 2 broke down planes. So we ended up not coming back to Huntsville, but changing our flight and went to Birmingham, had her daughter pick us up.
I bet you wish you'd have called me to pick you up.
Let me tell you what. All I did was close my eyes and pray.
I was on the phone with you for about 20 minutes of that ride.
Did you hear me?
Oh, yeah. My wife heard you, and she was across the room. She was like, he is in a panic. I said, I can only imagine.
That girl, she drives. Imagine Ray Charles driving. That's how she drives. All over, back and forth, hits the brakes, on the gas, tailgating people. I've never seen nothing like it. And then she didn't really know her way out of town too good, and it was like, you got to get off right here, So I was just happy when I got to this house. And, man, I opened the door in here. It was nearly midnight. She wanted to see inside too, because you'd just about finished. I mean, you came over the next morning, and you and Laura and y'all, you finished up what you did. I don't know if you had a couple of hours to it or not, but I had to leave. I felt bad, but they were having a party for my dad. They'd waited on me to get home, so we went over there for his birthday. But you were done by the time when I got back. Heck, all your tools were gone. Everything was gone. So
I went ahead and moved everything because I knew this was going to be move-in week.
Well, I wasn't sure if I was going to move in it or not, but when I got out here and cleaned it out today, I'd done unboxed things Monday up there and put the table together. And then, you know, we got a little floor issue, but nothing that's major. I really wanted the table in here so we can measure and for just an area rug to go on, so the table will sit on that. I think that'll help with some of the sound as far as this vibrating sound from the table.
Yeah.
We found out there the room has acoustics, and this table, it's a little noisy too. So, but that was my trip.
My trip was to Lakeside Podcast Studio. I came down here several days while you was gone and worked, and
I know my doorbell held me every time you go by.
I forgot about that, but I mean, I did get a chance to get the rest of my line put out at the hunting club, and I made a trip to Wedowee and got those trees down that were over the camp house, and it was nice. My wife's parents came in while I was going to Wedowee. That part wasn't nice, but they took the wife and the kids back to Murfreesboro with them.
Oh, I remember that. I got a text from you.
And I came home. It was Saturday, opening day of kickoff for Bama football. And it was so quiet in my house. It was so relaxing. After I hit the recliner, I never left the house, never got up. It was a nice evening. And then,
well, you know, we had a Christian Shelby came over. That was it. Nobody really showed up. Everybody knew we were packing to get ready to go. So they left right before Bama kicked off because he's got a bigger TV than I got. You know, he's got an 85-inch TV. So they went home, but I sat and watched the game, and I'm very reserved and quiet. If I was a Georgia fan, I'd be happy. My condolences, Auburn. But I don't say that in any way because I know Alabama's. I got a bad feeling.
Gonna be some upsets.
I think when Georgia comes to town, there's going to be a butt whooping going on, and Alabama ain't going to be giving it. Not if they don't change some things. So Georgia's looking good this year. You know, we don't know what'll happen, but with a new coach, I've been through it. You've been through it. We know. So I'm not.
And you know, it seems like the older I get, it really just don't bother me anymore.
I took this approach. I do root for Alabama. I didn't go to school there. I wasn't fortunate enough to get to go to college. But you know, if I was broke down on the side of the road, my car was on fire, if that team bus was coming up that interstate, they wouldn't stop to help me. They'd keep right on driving. So I just take a different approach to it. I'm happy when they're winning. I razz a lot of people. You know, my mother was a big Auburn fan. You know, and Auburn fans they like to lose. I don't know the reason you'd be an Auburn fan. I mean, for what little victory they get. I mean, when they celebrate, I understand their celebration. I mean, when I say victory, they've won a lot of football games. I'm talking about national championships, and you know that there hadn't been a lot of. They did have a national championship since Pat Dye, but Pat Dye carried them a lot of SEC championships. There were some good days then. But I have DirecTV right now, and guess what?
No ESPN.
No ESPN, no ABC.
But you know, it's been on FBS 1. Alabama's played there the last 2 weeks, and that's like channel 600 and something, and you got to have a certain package for that. And so if you're like me, you go to YouTube and you watch it till they kick it off that one, you go to the next YouTube.
Well, last weekend I was flying Saturday, and we took off before they kicked off. And then when we got to Chicago, of course, we're on a flight to Huntsville. So guess what? There's a lot of Alabama fans. There's some Auburn fans. There's other people. But so I was getting updates. I wasn't on none of the TVs. I tried to pull it up, and that's when I found, you know, DirecTV was all screwed up, and I couldn't get it. So, and then when we got into Birmingham, you know, I heard we won. They struggled, and, you know, so nothing impressive anyway.
No.
But came home. I was here. I took Monday, started on our outside metal on the building, but this weekend, headed to the hunting club. I know we got a hurricane coming in Louisiana. I'm hoping it stays and tracks, like they say, right up the Mississippi. The Mississippi River is where it's kind of going to go north. Once it hits Louisiana, cross over Tennessee up in there. We're going to get a little bit of rain, but hopefully not enough that it won't hurt my bush hog. And we're going to bush hog and start getting things ready at our club to plant. We're not going to plant till October, but we got 30-something fields to bush hog and probably 100 miles of roadsides to bush hog. So it's
and there's plenty of stuff to trim.
Oh yeah. And I heard from the younger guys, because I wasn't there, we had to delay the workday till last weekend. Only about 6 people showed up, and
they were the season, man.
Well, no, it was just one. Well, I mean, I don't know. One of our leaders was on call, and Tony kind of took charge of it down there. But he kind of handled that. It was more of a camp cleanup day. We go in, they mow the grass, get up all the dead limbs out of the camp, clean up the camp house. If they have time, they get out and they trim a few roads and that kind of thing. But usually, I bush hogged the camp. The grass had got so tall, I bush hogged it back in May when I first went down and bush hogged. The end of May, 1st of June.
It shouldn't have grown much. We ain't had no rain.
It was knee high.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So,
which I think y'all have had a little more rain
down there. They got some rain, yeah. So, and it rained like crazy on me when I was putting that lime out, if you remember right.
Yeah. And we had nothing here.
It was the lime I put out. Yeah. Yep. So, and I don't think they've had much rain since then. And I've put 1,000 pounds of fertilizer out since then. And, I just hope my land does better. That's on my property, not on the club property. So I've been down there working. So I heard a little grumbling about, they were out there doing that. Nobody else was there. And, I go, look, young guys, I've been here for 28 years. I said, I can be the road master. We had one. He carried a 16-foot 2x4. And he stood it up and he walked the roads, and no limbs could touch the 2x4 on either side of the road. So, and we had the 2 times I worked with him, we had 2 guys with heat strokes because he worked you like a dog. And bush axes and machetes, all we had back then.
I just got me one of those DeWalt battery powered pole saws.
Yeah.
Because Jamie and Zach's got one, and man, they've been doing a bunch of trimming down there at the club. And I'm talking about go forever, and they don't weigh anything.
Are you talking about the chainsaw pole saw?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a Milwaukee one like that.
Well, I had the gas powered. They just wear you out. Mm-hmm. They're so heavy, but it's amazing how long you can cut with a battery powered. And then I went down Sunday to feed deer. Sunday morning, feed the deer and turkey at the club, and I noticed Jamie's truck was backed in. That was at 7:30, and they were already there. And he said him and Zach brought his DeWalt electric chainsaw and their pole saws, and he said by lunch they had cut 3 or 4 roads, back out. And I guess there used to be another road in there, maybe before they cut the timber or prior to me being in the club, and they just let it grow up that goes back to the property line. And I guess there's like a natural crossing in there. So they've been cutting that road back out. He said they've got it about tractor width, and he said they probably like about a half day on it. So I told him, now it's cooling off a little bit. Maybe we'll start going in the evening some after work or whatever and cut till dark.
Problem is, well, you get off a little earlier than I do, but man, we're losing 2 minutes a day.
Hey, just coming over here, I left the house at 7. And, I had turned the headlights on before I even got here. I told Laura, I said, you can definitely tell we're losing daylight because...
It's happening fast.
Yeah, typically, we have recorded podcasts, start them at 7, finish it up in an hour, and me still drive home in a little daylight.
Well, we was working out here that night, and coming through this window, it was like the magnifying glass killing us. That's where was that that was the evening we got the air hooked up, I think.
I think a big thing, talking about the way you guys used to do stuff with bush axes and machetes and whatever, that's the thing. If you got a little piece of property and you want to maintain and the roads and all that, like we were talking about, these little, everybody's got a DeWalt or Makita or Milwaukee set of some sort, and most of these pole saws you buy, they come with one battery and charger, but I mean, they're fairly inexpensive, and you can do a whole lot with them.
You do a lot of work, you know.
And they're safe for people who don't know how to run a chainsaw. They're a little bit safer. It's away from you.
My only aggravation with the chainsaw pole saws, and it's gas and the battery ones too, is that chain, if you get it pinched a little bit, it's going to throw the chain almost every time.
Well, and just coming from that background, you know, I know you get going and you want to just go, but those privet hedges and stuff, they're terrible about yanking the chain.
Yes.
So, but if you just stop when you get a drink of water and check the chain, you know, bump it, it'll save you a bunch of time, because I know a lot of chainsaws, especially if you ever sling a chain and somebody that don't know how to run one, don't know what they're listening to, they'll keep the gas mesh down, and they have boogered the drags up on the back of the chain. Now it won't fit in the bar.
Yeah.
Because it's tried to run it a couple times and mess the clutch up. But, I mean, you can get a lot done with backpack spray.
Well, I'll be honest with you. You hadn't been down to my place.
I've never been down there.
When I drove in to look at it the first time, what was that? Was that kind of a dig on that? You're welcome to come. Bring your chainsaw. Bring that. But I like that arm bush hog thing you got. You know,
my Mini X.
Yeah. That's what I need.
Well, at least it's running. I got one for the skid steer. But my skid steer is down right now. That
would even be better.
Yeah.
So, but when I drove out to look at it, that was, I want to say, it was the week after my old buddy died. So I wasn't in a good mood anyway, but I drove out there, and it was just you know, they'd planted it back in pines, but it was blackberry bushes, and I pushed in with my 4-wheeler about 50 yards down what I figured was one of the old roads. And I said, well, I'll come back. I didn't even touch it that year. I went back after deer season was over. I carried my tractor down, and I pushed them roads out with that tractor and bush hog, and probably tore up more than I helped. But I opened up enough that the next year I had a little green patch, and then that this past October, October be a year, I'd hired the dozer to come in, and when I walked him around and showed him out where I'd cleaned my little roads. He said, "You did all that with a 40 horsepower tractor?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Man, you did some work, because them trees were, you know, going on 8-9 years old. They were already getting up to pretty big." And I said, "Yeah, I did all this, but, you know," he come in and he kind of widened them a little bit. He took his blade, and I said, "Just knock it down," because they were pretty rough, rutted, and that kind of stuff. And opened up my fields, and man, it's just amazing what the difference that's done. Now I still got to go down there and I'm gonna wait on a frost, because I'm not a big bow hunter no more. I may bow hunt some, but I'm gonna go down there once it cools off, and I'm gonna cut them. I've got some bushes, hedge bushes, old privet and that kind of stuff growing and hanging over the roads. And right now the chiggers, buddy, I done got eat up twice. I ain't gonna do it again I ain't messing with it till it frosts. And I got one yellow jacket nest to kill. Because I would say I found them, but they found me. One of them found me anyway, because, boy, when he hit, I knew right off the bat what it was.
You got a mark now.
Oh, yeah. I know exactly where they are.
You'll have to gas them on a night mission.
And I would have if I'd stayed one more night. But
well, it's so dry right now, I'm even scared of gas.
Well, hopefully Thursday and Friday will break our little drought we got going on. I know I saw Cuz
getting his put in.
You know, I made a comment. I ain't worrying about it. I ain't planting till October. I mean, there's a risk to that. If you can run out there right now, I mean, you can gamble. We gamble every time we plant in the South anyway, but you plant it now and it gets that good rain on it. And that's the only rain we get until mid-October, and it sprouts. It's dead.
I just had this conversation.
I'd rather plant it and it lay there for 2 or 3 weeks dry. and then the rains come on in because it ain't hurt nothing.
That, or I want to look at the future forecast and at least them giving a slight chance for the next 2 weeks, a day or two.
Yeah.
In there.
Well,
Because the cooler temperatures.
My problem is we got such a big pile of land. I can do that on my little place if I want to, but we got 34 green fields to plant. We can't wait. We got to pick a weekend and go.
Well, we did that last year, and then we left for storms, and we come home, we had no green fields because it was dry last year when we left.
We lucked up. We planted, I think the 14th, opening weekend of bow season, and the ground was a little moist. And then, October's generally dry. It didn't rain much, but when the rains come, we had some of our best green fields we've had since we took the property back over.
Well, I think we planted Labor Day weekend.
Oh,
and see, it was dry.
Oh, man.
Because we had time and we knew storms was coming. And then we left for those storms. And then, we come back and it was time to bow hunt. And there was nothing there. Actually, we came back, it was rifle season.
Yeah, it was. It was, yeah.
Because I was in Brooks, Georgia last year. Yep.
I remember that. So
we're gonna have a doe thinning at my place opening weekend of bow season. So if you decide not to go to Dallas County that weekend, just
it depends. I may come down there. Well, I'm a member, but I ain't been down. You're talking about here?
Here.
Is it open here?
Yeah.
Is it open, or is rifle season or firearm season opens a little later?
No. So part of Winston County opens October 1.
Oh, that's over the line.
But mine opens the same day the state does.
Okay, yeah, okay.
But what I'm saying is the weekend it opens here, if you decide not to go to Selma, I've got a spot. You can go set, and I need some does killed. We've got way too many. And if somebody wants a deer donated or needs some deer meat, get in touch with me between now and then because I'm inviting several guys, and somebody may not want a deer or whatever.
Yeah, I'll shoot anybody. 1 or 2 is all we need for our freezer every year, and I still got a ton. I got a bunch of wild pig down there in the freezer. And I need to give you some of that and let you try some of it.
Well, we cooked some whole wild hogs Saturday at that dove shoot. Yeah. We had wild hogs.
Yeah, you hadn't even talked about the dove shoot.
Yeah, man. First time I've got to go in 10 years. A friend of mine, Tweeter, he put the dove hunt on, and they've been prepping for it, and got to see a lot of guys I hadn't seen in a while, and they got up and started cooking 5 a.m. Saturday morning, and they cooked tenderloin and biscuits and all that good stuff, and ate breakfast while they were prepping the meat to put on the smoker, and they cooked. Man, they cooked. They fried fish. They cooked 2 whole wild hogs. They done whole chickens, chicken gizzards.
Ooh, I love gizzards.
Baked beans, coleslaw. I mean, they had a spread, and Galen Whitaker was doing most of the cooking, and he stayed with it all. He was still cooking when I left that evening. He'd been there since 5 that morning. Wow. He was still cooking. So nobody went hungry. As a matter of fact, I talked to a couple of guys the next day, and they're like, man, I still hadn't eaten. Because it was kind of like when you have a crawfish boil and everybody just keeps going back to the table. There was something coming off the smoker constantly. Here's another hindquarter. Here's another shoulder. So it was a lot of fun. But when the doves would come in, man, they would just, with that high wind, they would just all come in at one time. You'd go from a single here and there, and then all of a sudden, both directions they'd come over. But we had a good time. I know the game wardens were out and about.
Did they check y'all?
Well, they missed us by about 2 miles. A friend of ours was having a big dove shoot about 2 miles up the road, and they checked all them.
But you guys everything was legal, I suppose.
Yeah, we got with the extension office and the game warden to make sure we could put the cover crops in on that property. Oh. But he had it set up nice. Took a big hay field and took a big flat in there and planted millet, and then they bush hogged it, burned it off, and he had the hay cut just a few days prior to the hunt, so the grass was nice and low. You could find the does, minus the ones that was going down in the cutover, and the briars were overhead high. We didn't get into that.
Yeah, I'll let the ants have them.
I think we ended up with around 150 birds.
That's still a good shoot.
Yeah, it was a good time. I actually wanted to go back Sunday, but I just had stuff to do, and
they're not hunting this weekend.
I've got permission. I go over and hunt We go over
I
and
get my
hunt.
gun
We
back.
go hunt
we might have
tomorrow
to go
evening.
hunt.
You know
well,
what I mean?
I'd like to get my gun back.
Yeah. Yeah, he still got plenty of birds. They went back. Some of them, there was 3 guys went back Sunday morning, and they shot from then until they had to leave for church. And I think and it was 3 or 4 guys. I can't remember who all went, but anyway, I think they ended up killing about another 60 birds. So
Better be more than 3 or 4 with a 15 bird limit.
I don't remember how many was over there. I remember some of the names. I know a couple of them brought their kids.
This ain't Argentina.
I know they brought their kids.
Yeah.
Vance
They
brought
probably
his
had
kids.
enough anyway. When
yeah.
you got your kids there, they're shooting and you're
Yeah.
trying to keep them up.
Well, they're the same. The 2 kids that was there Sunday morning, they're Grace's age. So they're like
Okay.
13, 14-year-old, which one of them, he was there Saturday. And he was
Grace
having,
would have liked it if she'd went.
I tried to get her to go, but she went to a little friend's house.
Oh,
and
Lord,
so-
them little friends. Come on, Grace.
yeah. I don't know when it become a deal to get to stay gone during school nights. We didn't get to do that at
Oh,
my
no,
house.
no.
I mean, if somebody was having surgery in family and mom and dad was going to have to go to the hospital or stay at the hospital, we'd go stay with family.
My kids didn't do it.
You know what I mean?
And that's a big gap. You know, my oldest
Yeah.
one will be 33 his birthday. So, but my kids didn't do. Now they may have stayed Sunday night and went to school and then rode the bus on home Monday.
I don't have as big a problem with that,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Grace, me and Laura, we get into this debate because one of her little friends or whatever, usually she has someone stay at our house one night during the week, and she's been going to somebody's house one night during the week, and that's just a no-go. When I was growing up, we didn't get to do that.
Well, hell, when I grew up, I didn't have no friends to live close enough. My mother didn't even have her driver's license till basically I nearly had mine. So we were in the woods. So we didn't spend a whole lot of nights anywhere. My brothers had some friends that lived close. All my friends lived 10 miles away. So anyways,
well, we've got, I mean, I know tonight we've just been kind of doing a catch-up.
oh,
But
go ahead.
go ahead.
No, finish up because I've got a little speech I got to make.
But I did talk to the one friend that we were talking about doing toward closer to the season. We got a guy that's going to come on and talk some, tree stand safety
Yes.
stuff with us.
Good,
and,
good. So he's going to come
yeah,
on, huh?
yeah, and then I know we got a couple of other things in
Yeah.
the works, but. We're trying to get back on track, but the studio, your trip y'all seen enough stuff in South Dakota. We had to talk about that.
Yeah, I've got a lot of matter of fact, hold my hat up at Devil's Tower, took a picture of old meeting too. I've got some content I can use. And then, like I said, I stole her pictures and did that little TikTok video.
Did you see on Facebook, speaking of Christopher King, he had put on there, is anybody having a dove hunt?
Oh,
They
yeah.
wanted to go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I commented on it. I said, we're going to have one tomorrow. And, he texted me and said, man, I wish I'd have known earlier. And I do too. It would have been awesome for him and his son to come out.
Y'all shot birds. They didn't shoot much birds
Yeah.
where he ended up at.
Well, I was telling Tweeter, I was like, man, I know, I don't know if it's okay with you, but I had invited one of my friends from Georgia, but he can't make it. He said, I told you bring whoever you want to. So I wish they could have came, and that's something.
Maybe next year.
Yep, because he's planning on doing a little bit different, do something bigger next year. So hopefully I'll be home again. Hey, maybe it won't be another 10 years. I got to heat my new stove.
Well, I hadn't shot and going nearly 20 till I went to Argentina.
Yeah.
That'll make you feel like you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So even when I go out, if I'm going to go on this shoot the 21st, I may not hit a bird. I bought 6 boxes of shells, but I was shooting a case before lunch in Argentina. A case at lunch before lunch, a case after lunch. And
I like 5 shells shooting 2 boxes Saturday. But the little Stoker performed well.
Well, I was going to ask you how the gun turned out.
I cleaned it because, I've never even shot it. I cleaned it and oiled it up good. And I was just shooting Remington Dove shot, nothing special. I didn't get Fiatchis like I usually do.
Yeah, I just bought whatever
I grabbed a case of what I could grab, yeah. And, man, I never had a jam, never had a nothing. That thing performed fantastic.
I hope this one does. This was my dad's old 20 gauge.
I'm excited about that Joker.
And, my understanding, of course, it's got the God, what is it called? The mossy oak. It's Nomads. What is that called? It's my favorite camo. My favorite spring camo anyway. But Shadow Leaf. Shadow Leaf, because it's got some, bottomland in it, and it's got a little of everything in it, and it's green, and that's what I'm having done. And he explained to me how they did that. They actually put some kind of sealer on it when they get done with it that gives it almost a fabricy feeling to it. I'm excited to see it. He was excited to see that gun. He said, of course I had bought the synthetic stocks going. He said, I could have done the wood. I said, well, I really want to keep the wood. That was my dad's gun, and I bought it for him when he turned 50, and then he gave it back to me when he kind of gave up all that kind of stuff. And so, but yeah, I'm excited to give it a shot. I may even try a turkey hunt out of it. Just get one in close one of these days. Just say I killed one with it.
So on a Remington 1100, I've never done much research. Do you have to change a barrel to put a choke or
on that one? You got to change barrels unless you buy the barrel.
Barrel's kind of thin, right?
You buy a modified, improved, or full choke barrel back in them days.
Yeah, yep.
Now, like the one I have downstairs, it's got and that barrel will fit that one, but it's got screw-in chokes. I can change the chokes. I could turkey hunt with it, I guess, if I wanted to. With Apex and TSS and that kind of stuff, you can kill a turkey easy with 2 3/4.
Oh man!
I mean, you might not reach out there 65 yards, but that's not the fun, anyways.
Well, I showed you that graph I've got on those hand loads that I load. That the 2 3/4 is actually faster feet per second than the 3-inch, which is kind of weird, but that's how it is. So what else have you got? Was you going to talk about?
I was just going to beg. I had a minute. I had a minute to. I wanted to bring up. We got the studio done now for the most part. I bought some wrap to go out on the door.
When we get that done, we're going to take a picture of that.
We're going to take a picture. I'm sending it. I'm going to send it to her.
Oh yeah.
And make sure. I mean, we can message it to him, but he gets so many messages now. But anyway. I just wanted to do my weekly, I guess, bag. I don't know what else to call it, but, mossy oak. Cuz, Lauren, Toxie, Bobby, Dudley. I know almost every one of you over there now. Pro staff. That's all we're asking. One of you sponsor us.
And if they'd look at their order log for the Mossy Oak store, it's got me or you one about every week.
We're buying all the time. I've got Gamekeeper magazine. I watch your show. So, we dress in it head to toe. I mean, head to toe. I don't know what else I can do. I mean, what does it take, cuz? I mean, you've been there since almost the get-go. What does it take, Toxie? I mean, do I have to come over there and cut your grass? Mend the fence? Invite you somewhere to hunt? You've already got everywhere to hunt. All we're saying is we're already representing you. We just want it to be official. And that's all it takes, a little bit of being official. And I hate that I'm going to have to do this. If we ever get old cuz on here, I'm going to have to beg in front of him.
Yeah.
It's what's so bad. I mean,
we may have to take a ride over there.
Well, Lauren told me anytime we want to come, just let her know when we're coming and we may get a tour of the studio. That's what she told me at the NWTF. I hope to have her on the podcast, but if we don't do something quick, it's going to be hunting season again. And things go crazy for them.
You need to send out an email this week and let's just go ahead and try to get her set up soon.
Yeah, I will. I'll do it.
Because she's definitely going to have some stories.
Oh, she's a heck of a turkey hunter and deer killer. So yeah, I mean, I'm more interested in her than I am her daddy. So, I mean, he gets on podcasts, and she may be on lots of podcasts. I don't know. I haven't seen her on one, but I hope. She said she'd love to do it.
Yeah.
She could give all kinds of tips just on what we're doing right here. We can talk podcasting, we can talk hunting, we can talk daddy, we can talk kids. I mean, she's got one of the most famous little kids on the planet right now, Cranky.
Yeah.
Not to take away from Matt, but there's something about old Cranky that everybody loves him. That, I was going to shake their hands, but they was way out. Yeah, it was kind of standing around by their Pammy or Pam or whatever. I don't know if they call her Pammy or Pam, but I know that's her name, Grandma. So anyway, just hit me up, DM me, send me an email. Real easy. It's right there. You can find us. Leave a post on one of our pages. Look me up. Send me an email. I know you got my email address. I answer questions for you all the time on the Fistful of Dirt. I even had one of my ghost stories told. I mean, goodness gracious.
Me too.
So anyway, that's all I had for this evening. And we done busted out an hour here, so we're gonna have to end this thing and get on out. I mean, I know the women are down there, but it's late. What time is it? It's already after 9.
Yeah.
So it'll be 10 o'clock before you get home.
Yep.
So I hope you guys didn't get too bored with it, and spread the word. It's only going to get better now. We're in our permanent home. As permanent as we can get until we sign that big contract like Joe Rogan, making the billions.
Yeah.
So get gobbled up by meat eater. Somebody, not that we're looking to do that at all, but anyway, just tell your friends. If you hadn't, go out there and like us, follow us, go to our social media, and hey, bring in that hunting club name. We hadn't sent out and picked a winner yet. We got time to do that, and we're going to carry that on for a couple more weeks here. And just give us that 5-star review. I'll be like the rest of them. If you don't like it, just don't do nothing. But if you like it, even if you don't like it, go ahead and lie. Tell them. Put 5 stars on there. I mean, it'll only help us get better. But that's all I got. What do you got?
I'm good.
All right. So I guess till next week, we'll see you then.